Have you ever watched someone completely dominate a room through sheer volume of words, while you sat there seeing every flaw in their logic, every hole in their argument, knowing you could dismantle them with a single observation? But you stayed quiet, and later, alone, you replayed the conversation, crafted the perfect responses, felt that familiar ache of frustration, not because you couldn't match their verbal energy, but because you knew that engaging would somehow make you less. Your body knows this truth. That tightness in your throat when you hold back. That electric feeling in your chest when you watch others reveal their insecurities through desperate explanation. The way your mind sees 3 moves ahead while they're still justifying their first. You've been told your whole life that intelligence means speaking up, that smart people explain their thoughts, that wisdom requires words. What if the smartest person in every room is the one who needs to say the least? What if your silence isn't social anxiety or lack of confidence, but the highest form of intellectual dominance? Friedrich Nietzsche saw what others couldn't bear to admit. Most human communication is just weakness disguised as words. While society preached the virtue of dialogue and understanding, Nietzsche exposed the raw truth: that real intelligence operates beyond the need for constant verbal validation, beyond good and evil, beyond explanation and justification. Nietzsche understood what you've always sensed, that every unnecessary word is a confession of insecurity. Every explanation is a request for permission. Every argument is an admission that you need others to validate your reality. This video is for you who finds yourself explaining your decisions to people who've already made up their minds about you. For you who leaves every meeting feeling drained because you spent the whole time justifying ideas that should have been obvious. For you who gets pulled into exhausting text arguments, typing paragraph after paragraph, only to realize they're not even reading what you're saying. They just want to be right. For you who's been told you're too intense when you explain your thoughts, or too quiet when you don't, like there's no winning. You've tried being more articulate. You've tried simplifying your ideas. You've tried matching their communication style. And every time, you end up feeling smaller, misunderstood, and somehow like you've betrayed yourself. This isn't about learning another communication technique. This is about discovering why your instinct to pull back was right all along. Here's why you suffer. You still believe that intelligence must be performed to be valid. Every time someone challenges your ideas, questions your competence, or dismisses your contributions, you feel that ancient programming activate. Prove yourself. Show them how smart you are. Explain your reasoning. But here's what actually happens when you give in to that urge. The moment you start explaining, you've already lost. Because explanation is subordination. You're literally saying, "Let me make myself small enough for you to understand." Think about the last time someone less intelligent than you dominated a conversation. What did they do? They talked and talked and talked. And what did you do? You probably tried to match them, tried to insert logic into their emotional rambling, tried to elevate the discourse, and with every word, you felt yourself shrinking. Because you were playing their game, a game where volume beats value, where confidence beats competence, where performance beats depth. But it goes deeper than just conversation dynamics. You've been programmed since birth to prove your intelligence through verbal display. Good grades meant explaining your answers. Job interviews meant articulating your thoughts. Social success meant being good at conversation. So now your intelligence has become your prison. The smarter you are, the more you feel obligated to share that intelligence. to correct wrongness, to illuminate ignorance, to fix broken logic. And this compulsion is making you weak, because every time you explain something to someone who won't understand, you're not educating them. You're entertaining them with your need for validation. Every time you correct someone's ignorance, you're not displaying intelligence. You're revealing your addiction to being right. Every time you engage with bad faith arguments, you're not winning. You're losing energy to vampires who feed on your need to be understood. Nietzsche called it thinking beyond good and evil, the ability to transcend the basic human need for moral and intellectual validation. Most people live in what he termed the herd mentality, constantly seeking approval, agreement, validation through words. They talk because they think, but more accurately, they talk instead of thinking. True intelligence, Nietzsche argued, operates from the will to power, but not power over others, power over yourself. The power to choose response over reaction, silence over noise, observation over participation. This is what separates the Übermensch from the herd, the ability to be psychologically self-sufficient, to know your intelligence without needing others to acknowledge it. When you master this, something profound happens. Your silence becomes a mirror. When someone tries to engage you in verbal combat and you simply observe, they're forced to confront their own reflection. No counter-argument to deflect against. No explanation to pick apart. Just their own words echoing back, revealing their desperation. But understanding this intellectually is only the beginning. What I'm about to show you will transform how you navigate every interaction. If this message is speaking to you, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate your support. Here's how the transformation actually happens. First, you must kill your need to be seen as intelligent. This is brutal. Your ego will scream. You'll watch obvious errors go uncorrected. You'll let people think you don't understand when you see layers they can't imagine. This discomfort is your evolution. Second, you develop what Nietzsche called selective engagement. You speak only when your words will genuinely add value, not just display intelligence. The listener has proven they can receive what you're offering. Silence would cause more problems than speech. You choose to gift someone with your insight. Third, you learn to read the intelligence hierarchy in every room. At the bottom are those who talk constantly, filling every silence, explaining everything, needing everyone to know they're smart. In the middle are those who talk strategically, choosing their moments, trying to win conversations through clever verbal tactics. But at the top, those who observe, who speak perhaps one sentence that reframes everything, who make others come to them for wisdom rather than broadcasting it. In meetings, here's what this looks like. Let others exhaust their ideas. Take notes not on what they're saying, but on what they're revealing about their limitations. When you finally speak, if you speak, make it one surgical observation that shifts the entire discussion. Watch how the room recalibrates around your words. In arguments, when someone attacks your intelligence or ideas, pause, count to 5. Then ask one question that exposes the real issue behind their attack. Nothing more. Let them wrestle with their own projections. Online, never engage with people who argue in bad faith. Your absence speaks louder than any comeback. They'll exhaust themselves shadowboxing with their imagination of you. In relationships, stop explaining your depth to people swimming in shallows. Your complexity isn't a problem to be solved through words. But here's the Nietzschean twist. This isn't manipulation, it's evolution. You're not staying silent to win. You're staying silent because you've transcended the game entirely. Everything I've told you leads to this. Your intelligence isn't something to be proven through words. It's a force to be felt through presence. Every moment you've felt frustrated by your inability to convey your intelligence to others, you were experiencing the limitation of language, not the limitation of your mind. Every time someone called you quiet or mysterious, they were confessing that your depth exceeded their ability to categorize you. Every relationship that ended because you wouldn't open up was really ending because you wouldn't shrink yourself to fit their understanding. Picture who you become when you fully embrace this. You walk into rooms and the intelligent people immediately recognize you, not through words, but through the quality of your attention, the way you observe, the economy of your responses. You become a rare commodity in a world drowning in noise. Your conversations transform. Gone are the exhausting cycles of explanation and misunderstanding. When you do speak, people lean in. Your words land like precision strikes because scarcity creates value. One sentence from you carries more weight than hours from others. You stop bleeding intelligence through your mouth. Every unnecessary explanation you don't give is dignity maintained. Every bad faith argument you don't enter is energy conserved for things that matter. Most importantly, you become psychologically untouchable. When your validation comes from within, when your intelligence needs no external confirmation, you become impossible to manipulate, impossible to diminish, impossible to control. The intellectually insecure need words because they need proof. The truly intelligent choose silence because they are the proof. This isn't about becoming cold or disconnected. It's about becoming sovereign. Speaking from power, not from need. Sharing your intelligence with those who've earned access, not those who demand performance. So here's my challenge. For the next week, cut your words by 80%. When you feel the urge to correct someone's stupidity, observe instead. When someone tries to bait you into proving your intelligence, smile and stay silent. When you would normally explain your thinking, let them wonder. Then come back and comment with just 2 words. Transcended words. No explanation of what you learned. No story of how it went. Just those 2 words. Let's build a community of those who understand that true intelligence needs no announcement. Because if you've made it this far, you're not looking for another communication strategy. You're looking for permission to stop performing your intelligence for people who couldn't recognize it anyway. The question isn't whether you're smart enough to master silence. The question is whether you're brave enough to stop proving you're smart. Your intelligence isn't a performance, it's a presence, and presence doesn't need words.